I am the Dadcrafter, and this is the Skyblock Challenge. We are now on episode number 11, and we are going to the Nether. That's right, we're finally going to get there in this continuation of attempt number 6. We have made it so far. If you remember, in the last episode, we finally managed to get ourselves some villagers. We cured some zombie villagers, turned them into regular old villagers, and then we're able to breed those villagers. So we now have some real live villagers. We've got our new skin thanks to Grace6604. So the Dad Crafter's looking good here for episode number 11. Mob grinder functioning just like it should. Everything is going great here in attempt number 6. And like I said, we finally were able to go ahead and breed some villagers. So you can see here we've got our first new adult villager bred right here on the Skyblock Challenge. We're going to go ahead and do some housekeeping. The first thing we're going to do is get this other zombie villager that we were storing out of our side here, our annex building, bring him over to a new location because I'm going to build a iron farm in this episode. That's right, one of my favorite things to do with villagers is to build iron farms because iron farms are a great way to get, well, iron. But before we can do that, we're going to have to deal with a little bit of a chicken jockey problem over here. You can see one has popped up on my mob spawning platform. So we're going to go ahead and capture him as well as a baby drowned in a boat, but I make a big mistake there. I broke the boat. I didn't realize that shooting an arrow at a boat would break the boat. So we've got a chase here. We've got a baby zombie villager on a chicken jockey if you will, as well as a baby drowned chasing me in a circle. But thankfully, I dropped the boat and they jumped on in and we can just wait till daytime and those two will burn right up, leaving us with our very own chicken. Now, we have chickens on this world already, so that's no big deal, but it was fun to go ahead and play with that baby zombie and leave the chicken behind. We're going to go ahead here now. We're going to open up our annex and convert it into a part of our villager trading, our villager home, I guess. We'll call it a villager trading hall because that's ultimately what it's going to be. What we're going to do here is we're going to let the villagers go ahead and breed up so we get a whole bunch of villagers because I want to be able to trade with villagers. That's going to be my only way to get diamond tools, diamond weapons, diamond armor is going to be by trading with villagers. It's also going to be my best way to get emeralds. I'm already going to trade with my farming villagers to get some emeralds by trading them carrots and potatoes. I got a butcher villager here so I can trade up all that pork that I got from my massive number of pigs that I took out in the last episode. I've also got myself an armorer. We'll get a toolsmith, we'll get a weaponsmith, and we'll be able to do all sorts of great trades. But like I said before, one of the keys to all of this is going to be an iron farm. So I need a couple of extra villagers. In fact, I need 3 villagers in order to make that iron farm. And we're going to put it right over here. Now this is a custom design. Not using anybody else's design for this iron farm. This is going to be a complete Dadcrafter original. Of course, based on many designs that have been used before. But because we're working on Skyblock here, just going to use the resources that we have. So the first thing we're going to do is build a little box to hold our 3 villagers. Within that box, we're going to place 3 beds. Those beds will be where the villagers will try to sleep. It's how we'll get them into the box, is they're going to go there to try to sleep. On the other side of those wood blocks, those planks, is where we've got our zombie villager. Now, the key to making an iron farm work is you need those 3 villagers who are going to make iron golems. What's going to cause them to make the iron golem is the fact that you have a zombie somewhere close enough to scare them. And in this case, we're going to use the zombie villager that I transported over there. We're going to put him just on the other side of a wall where he can't reach the villagers to hurt them, but where he can scare the heck out of them. When they're scared, what they'll do is they'll create an iron golem. Now, that iron golem, we need it to go somewhere that's where we want it to go as opposed to just anywhere. Say hi to my other zombie villager there. We're just going to close him in. But we're going to build a little platform here above our villagers. That's where we want our iron golem to spawn. And you'll see here I'm going to use water to push the iron golem over to the edge of this platform. So we've got a platform, we've got fences on either side. Now we're putting We're making it just the right size so that we can put water up on top of it and have that water flow over the edge. When the water flows over the edge, we need something to kill the iron golem so that we get the iron from them. That's right, when iron golems die, they drop usually 2, 3, sometimes I think even 4 pieces of iron. So we're going to use campfires here. Normally, I would use lava for an iron farm, but in this world, lava is scarce and I don't want to take any risks with my lava. So we're going to go ahead and just use campfires because those are something I can easily craft up. So we're going to put these campfires at the edge of their water. The water is going to push the iron golem into the campfires. Those campfires will ultimately burn up the iron golem, and then he will drop his iron. Now, initially, I'm going to have to collect that iron manually. Eventually, once I have enough iron, I'll make some hoppers, and they'll collect it automatically. Right now, I'm putting slabs all around the area of this farm because what I don't want is that iron golem to just spawn randomly. I want him to spawn up on top of the platform where the water will push him into my campfires. And you'll see here, I was opening up the wall between the zombie villagers and the villagers, and one of the villagers just popped right out. So we're going to have to get him back in there. Thankfully, all I've got to do is close off the zombie villager spot so that he doesn't see them, and this villager will try to get to the bed in there. And he'll go back in there and hopefully we'll go back in there and hang out with the other 2 villagers and apparently a chicken who's decided to make this his home as well. So we've got a chicken and 3 villagers in the iron farm. That'll work. It doesn't matter. The chicken, he won't help or hurt, so he'll just hang out in there. But now that we've got our villagers in there, we'll open up the wall again and you'll see they got scared and they created an iron golem. But I missed a slab. I missed putting a slab somewhere. There's a full block right there on the edge of the farm that was not covered with a slab, and that allowed the golem to spawn outside the farm. Even worse, I just opened up the wall to put a fence in, and one of my villagers decided to jump in the boat with my zombie villager. No one ever said villagers were smart, but I did not realize they were that dumb. So now I've got 2 villagers where I want them, 1 villager in the boat with my zombie. For now, that's going to work. As you can see, we just spawned a golem right where we wanted him, right in the water. The water pushed him into the fires will burn him up, and I've got some iron. So that's perfect. Just need to kind of create a little pathway here for myself to collect the iron, and I'm going to have to jump in the fire to get it. So not ideal, but it works. But in the meantime, I'm going to need to fix this villager issue because my villager has now converted into a zombie villager. Kind of doing the backwards of what we did before where we were converting zombie villagers into villagers. I've successfully converted a villager into a zombie villager. Not what I wanted because I need 3 normal villagers in my farm in order for them to create iron golems. So making a path of carrots here, I closed off the wall to the zombie so that he won't be scared. This villager is going to go ahead, track towards that bed, and I can close him in there. And then I can reopen the wall to let them see the zombie, now 2 zombie villagers in a boat. So the good news is these guys are clearly scared. They're running around scared. And what that means is that they are going to do what I want them to do and create that iron golem. Now, we'll see if he gets it in the right spot. That one spawned in the right spot, but you can see he didn't quite fall into the campfires. He's kind of hanging out on a ledge there that I didn't take out. So we've got to do some tweaks, like I said, building this farm on the fly, no design, just building it. And there we go. Taking out that 1 block seems to have done the trick. So now our iron golem is in the fire and I can go ahead and collect that iron. And you can see the next one spawned right where we wanted him to. And we're going to have a fully functioning iron farm here in no time. The only piece that we're missing is, well, I forgot to cover the crafting table I've been using with a slab or a torch or anything to stop spawns. So you can see the iron golem there. He spawned on top of the crafting table. Not where I wanted him. Going to go ahead and spawn proof a little further out from the farm just to be sure that we don't get anybody spawning outside the farm. We're going to take out this iron golem with my bow and arrow. We'll grab his iron and then we're going to go ahead and spawn proof the rest of this area so that we get all of our iron golems in the farm. Now, I didn't show it to you here, but I did go ahead and get enough iron to build some hoppers. So we put those hoppers underneath the campfires. We're going to go ahead here and add a few more. So we now have a hopper under each of our 6 campfires. Those hoppers will channel the iron now automatically into that chest that you see on the right. And going forward, when an iron golem expires, his iron will be automatically collected and thrown into that chest. That's good for 2 reasons. 1, it means I don't have to walk on fire anymore to get my iron. 2, it means I can just kind of AFK, sit back and relax and know that all of the iron is going to get captured into the farm. Now, you saw another golem spawn there outside the farm. I do finally realized what's going on there and that there was an uncovered spot. I put a slab there. Eventually, I'm going to throw a torch here onto that crafting table because, as you can see, I finally spotted the iron golem spawning right there on the crafting table. It's amazing the area that those villagers will find to spawn an iron golem. If you leave anything unspawn-proofed, that's where they're going to go. So my crafting table is going to need to get covered. I'm going to go ahead and put a torch on there to make sure that that does not spawn any more golems, because I want them in my farm where, again, they will be taken care of by the campfires, where their iron will get captured into my chest. So at this point, I think we can call this iron farm fully functional. Now, that is really important because, as you can see here right now, I'm kind of limited to trading potatoes and carrots for emeralds. I'm going to need emeralds to buy things from the other villagers in order to build up their experience, to get them up to master traders so that they'll trade me the things that I want. Full diamond armor, full diamond tools, diamond sword, but I need emeralds to do that. Well, one of the things that some villagers will trade emeralds for is iron. So if I have a large supply of iron, that's actually one of the easiest ways to get emeralds. Farming potatoes and carrots works, but it's a lot of work to farm potatoes and carrots. You have to use up a lot of bone meal, a lot of time just going back and forth. But as you can see, I've already got a master armorer here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get myself some full diamond armor. That last piece there, the chest plate, was all that I was missing, and the Dadcrafter is now sporting full diamond armor. We've got a weaponsmith apprentice, and you can see here, he will give me an emerald for every 3 iron ingots. So my iron farm is now producing a ton of iron, which means that I can buy emeralds for iron, which then allows me to go to my toolsmith here and buy up a whole bunch of stone pickaxes. Now, I don't need a bunch of stone pickaxes, but what I'm doing here is I'm leveling up his trades. Now you can see that he'll buy my iron. Well, that'll level up his trades and give me emeralds that I can use for the next round of trades. So I'm going to do this for a little while here, go back and forth with my different villager traders, getting a bunch of emeralds, getting the different tools and weapons that I need, selling them iron from my iron farm. So kind of a long way from where we started when I said before that I don't have enough iron in this world to even build a hopper, and I was saving my iron for cauldrons so that I could collect lava. Well, at this point, I have more iron than I know what to do with. In fact, I'm starting to get an overabundance of iron even with trading it with these villager traders. That's because I'm doing this challenge to get to the Nether. I've already bred my villagers. All that's left in this challenge is to get to the Nether. So I'm waiting for a wandering trader to show up with pointed dripstone. Well, while I wait for that pointed dripstone, nothing really better to do than trade with my villagers. So there's a lot of time going by in the background where I'm just kind of waiting to see if a wandering trader will show up. While that's happening, the iron farm is moving at all times. It is just producing iron. Those villagers are spawning iron golems. They're making their way into the fires. They're getting burnt up. I'm taking that iron, I'm trading it over here with my villagers, and I'm leveling them up to a master weaponsmith here on this side, where he now is going to trade me a diamond sword. Didn't get a great draw there with an efficiency axe. That's great, but an unbreaking sword could have done better. But I do get a fortune 1 unbreaking 2 diamond pickaxe from my master toolsmith, an efficiency 2 unbreaking 2 diamond shovel. So getting some good trades, but more importantly, getting some diamond tools. That's something that in Skyblock you really have no other way of accomplishing other than trading with villagers. So going from I need to get a villager to I can actually get some awesome gear from those villagers pretty quickly here has been a lot of fun. Next up, I realized that once I do finally get that pointed dripstone, I'm going to need a place to collect it or to use it to collect lava. So I'm going to build a little cubby underneath my current cobblestone generator where my lava sits. I'm just going to work right underneath that and build this spot down here where I can place my pointed dripstone and a cauldron. So making it safe by putting a little wall around it so I can get up and down without worried about falling in the void. Going to drop my cauldron right there. All I need is that pointed dripstone. I will put it right above the cauldron. That'll be directly below my lava, and that will then let me multiply my lava from 1 into many. So we're ready to go. Literally just waiting for that pointed dripstone trade. In the meantime, we're breeding villagers. We've got a whole hall to fill. We've got a bunch of different villagers that we want to trade with. There are different types of villagers that we want to trade with. So we're going to go ahead, continue to breed our villagers, continue to get new trades. Now this is where I do finally realize where the iron golem has been spawning outside of my farm. So we finally fixed that problem, and we can finally say that we have 100% efficiency now on our iron farm, because all of the golems are going to spawn here within the water and get pushed into that campfire. So we were still getting a couple spawning randomly outside. You can see we're starting to get some cats running around our village. Cats are a byproduct of having villagers. When you got a lot of villagers, you just end up with cats. When you got a lot of iron, you can make iron blocks, and iron blocks, they let you make an anvil. So one other thing that's been going on here is I placed a crafting table behind my cobblestone generator. That crafting table keeps catching on fire. By putting an anvil on top of it, I think I'm going to stop those fires from starting. The fire doesn't really spread. It doesn't ever burn the crafting table up, but I keep walking into it as I'm trying to farm my potatoes and carrots. So not really an ideal thing, and I need an anvil. I want to make some better bows. I've collected a ton of bows from my mob grinder, but they're all like either almost broken or just not very strong. So I go ahead and craft up a power 3 bow with 2 unbreaking, and just like that, I get a wandering trader. So it's been a while here. I've actually been playing for a long time without a wandering trader spawn, and was starting to think he was never going to come. And while he did come, he unfortunately did not bring what I need, which is that pointed dripstone. He'll buy a fermented spider eye. He'll buy a milk bucket. At this point, I'll sell on the spider eyes because I have some that I've already crafted up, but I really don't need the emeralds. I've got plenty of emeralds. This wandering trader, he decides he wants to go for a swim in my drown pool. There just happens to be a creeper taking a bath in there right now, so we've got a wandering trader and a creeper hanging out in my drown pool. Not sure what's going on there, but we'll take out the creeper. We'll make it safe for the wandering trader. Maybe he's been on a long journey. Maybe he really needs to take a bath. Who knows? But he's in there swimming around now. We'll get his llamas out of there, you know. We got chickens in there. My drown pool, it's not so much a drown pool anymore as it is an everything pool. Apparently llamas, chickens, creepers, and heck, a wandering trader all hanging out here in my drown pool. So this wandering trader did not have what we needed. So unfortunately for him, that means we're going to have to let him go. But we did buy his firefly bush here, so we're going to go ahead and plant that because, you know, just want to make our world a little prettier, and I have emeralds to spare now, so may as well buy some of the things that they're selling, and looks pretty cool here to have that on the island. So we've added a little decorative detail. In the meantime, we're going to continue doing what we've been doing, buying and selling things from our different traders. This guy has that sword. Even though it's not a great sword, we're going to take it and we're going to just toss this stone sword aside because we don't need no stinking stone sword. We're going to go ahead and buy up a diamond pickaxe. We're going to toss that stone pickaxe aside because we don't need that stinking pickaxe either. We're going to go ahead and we're going to buy up all the diamond tools that we don't have. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and take care of this trader because you know what? If you don't bring me what I want, you don't get to live on my island. That's going to be our rule. If we ever get a trader who brings us pointed dripstone, we're going to let that guy live. But anyone else, you show up here without the pointed dripstone, we're letting you go. In the meantime, I've had a few people suggest that I could put a hopper underneath my cobblestone generator to catch all the cobblestone and make it even more efficient. Now that I have all this iron, we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to place a hopper directly beneath the cobblestone generator. That's going to let us catch all of the cobblestone without any effort whatsoever. So you can see here now with the crafting table behind and the hopper below, I can toggle myself into just continuous mining mode and know that all of the cobblestone is just going to drop right down here into this chest. So finally, even though I've said this a few times, finally we've got a completely working, perfectly working cobblestone generator. We also have another wandering trader. I'm going to do my little dance here. I'm hoping that this is the pointed dripstone dance. You're going to see me do this every time now until we get the pointed dripstone. We're going to call that the Dadcrafter pointed dripstone dance. Just a little bit of squatting there, maybe a little jumping around, but let's see if it worked this time. Will this wandering trader be the one? No, he will not. He will not be the one. But he does bring me a mangrove propagula. I don't know how to say that word. A mangrove propagula. We'll call it that. And he brought me a jungle sapling. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a little bit more trees. We're going to grow a few more trees on our island here, make it a little prettier, give us a few different things to see. Since we only really have oak wood at this point, we finally have emeralds when he's brought us a sapling. So we'll grow a jungle tree here so that we've got a jungle tree on the island. We can get some jungle wood. Not my favorite kind of wood, but it is different. So maybe we'll build something with some jungle wood later. But we've got the jungle sapling, so we'll grow a jungle tree. And then we have that mangrove propagula. So maybe we'll go ahead and we'll grow a mangrove tree as well. And that'll give us some different wood too. So we're starting to get some different types of wood, some different resources from the wandering traders that do come. Even though they don't seem to want to give me pointed dripstone, they always show up with something. They don't ever show up empty-handed. So as long as they're going to bring me something, I'm going to make use of it. And in this case, we'll go ahead and plant that mangrove tree, and we'll see what we get here. And we're going to use some bone meal to get that thing growing. And I gotta say, mangrove trees are wild. I mean, look at this thing. It's got like stair-step roots coming down off of it. It's got the main tree. Looks way cooler than the jungle tree does, and the wood is like red, which is pretty neat. So I like that, kind of an orangey red. You know, we'll go ahead and we'll definitely keep that tree that just grew because that's really cool looking. What we're not going to keep is the wandering trader and his llamas. He's gone. He didn't bring me what I wanted, so he does not get to stick around here on my island. Another thing I'm going to do, since I've got some iron to spare, is I'm going to put some hoppers underneath my mob grinder. This was another suggestion from my chat was, why don't you go ahead and add some hoppers underneath the mob grinder. That way you're not having to like run around in circles around the mob grinder every time you want to kill off the mobs and get the loot. Just auto collect it with a hopper. Well, once again, I didn't have the iron to do this previously, but thanks to my highly effective iron farm, I now have a surplus of iron, and I'm going to go ahead here, and I'm going to add some hoppers underneath my mob grinder. That's going to make it so that all of the loot that comes out of the mob grinder is going to automatically go into that first chest, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to figure out a way to make it go into the second chest, because I have a feeling the first chest will get overwhelmed if I don't do that. I tend to get quite a bit of loot from this farm, and as you can see before, I had a number of chests that I was kind of sorting it into. So we're going to use a number of chests here, and you can see it works. All the loot just kind of drops right through. I need to drop these other chests down a little bit lower to make it work, so we're going to put this one kind of inlaid into the ground, and then we can drop a hopper to come out of the first chest and into the second chest. So you'll see here, I'll just drop that one right beneath it, and now that hopper is going to take everything from this first chest and disperse it into the second chest. So that way we won't end up with a full chest that overflows. We'll get everything moving into, and we'll actually make it two. We'll add another chest over here. So we'll have two different chests that'll feed off of our main chest, which will make it so that we never have to worry about anything overflowing, and we can grind mobs up here as long as we want, knowing that everything is just going to make its way into one of these three chests. So good news, our mob grinder now even more efficient than ever. Little upgrade thanks to the iron farm. But my super efficient iron farm plus my super efficient mob grinder means I've got a ton of two things. I got a ton of bones and I've got a ton of iron. And I was trying to think of like, what could I do with all the bones and the iron? And if you remember back in attempt number 5, I was having the same thing with all these bone blocks that I was starting to make. And I talked about making a skeleton statue. Well, that's been on my mind ever since then. And the problem with making a skeleton statue is you need a couple different colored blocks. You can't do this with all one color block. You need to have a few different colors that you can work with. So I'm going to go ahead and collect up a whole bunch of bone blocks, and those are going to make up the primary pieces of a skeleton statue. That'll be like the main color white that I use. After all, bone block is probably the best white color to use for a skeleton statue. So we'll have a whole bunch of bone block, and I just need to figure out what other blocks to use. Well, the one that comes to mind, if you haven't guessed here, is going to be iron blocks. As you can see on the right there, that's a block of iron. The other piece there is a bone block. We're also going to use some smooth stone, and we've got some gray and white wool from our sheep that we're going to use as well. So between the bone block, the iron blocks, the smooth stone, and the gray wool, we're going to go ahead and use a design that I found on YouTube. It comes from a YouTuber named Zoo Wee Mama. That is ZU-WII-MAMA, Zooey Mama. Thank you for the design of this skeleton. And we're going to use their design to go ahead and build this skeleton. Now, of course, they used different blocks because I think they were working in creative, and they had some different colored concretes and wools and things that I just didn't have access to. So had to do my best to kind of take their design and work with it and go ahead and use it to just match up blocks. So like bone block was used in place of, I think it was white concrete powder, and the iron blocks are used in place of maybe it was white concrete. I forget the exact items, but just went ahead and matched everything up so that I could build my design here using the blocks that I had access to. And you can see I'm using bone blocks in place of scaffolding because I really just had that many bone blocks. One thing I got to apologize for, I didn't record the completion of the statue. I recorded the first half there, but somehow I lost the cinematic recording of the second half. So you saw me building the first half of it. Here is the finished product. And I was able to use some black wool for the mouth and the eyes, and I actually think it turned out really good. There at the edge of my island, I now have a gigantic skeleton statue watching over, scaring away everyone except the Wandering Trader. We're going to go ahead and do our dance once again here for the Wandering Trader and hope that this is the one. Will he be the one who brings us the pointed dripstone? We just completed our giant skeleton. Come on, do the dance, Dadcrafter. There it is. We've got the Dadcrafter doing his patented dripstone dance, hoping that this Wandering Trader will be the one that'll give us a little bit of pointed dripstone. All right, I think we're ready to take a look at it. Will you be the one? He will not be the one. Yet again, we've got a disappointing Wandering Trader. He's got some cool stuff here that we don't have, like some different flowers, some dye, a potion of invisibility, some blue ice, some things that once again, we're going to buy them because we have emeralds and we don't have these items otherwise in our world, so may as well buy these things, but unfortunately they are not the thing we're looking for. So the good news is we're getting Wandering Traders to spawn. The bad news is it's taking literal hours for these Wandering Traders to spawn. So I'm really starting to lose my patience with these, no good traders who don't want to give me the pointed dripstone, but we're just going to keep making the most of it, doing the best that we can, buying up what they've got, and maybe we'll go ahead and build something else with all these different things that we're getting, starting to collect different dyes, different blocks, so kind of starting to brainstorm. Maybe there's something else that I can build, like a statue or something with all of this, but honestly, not really sure what else I could build beyond my cool skeleton here. So for now, we're just going to take our anger out on this Wandering Trader and his llamas, because like I said, you don't give me pointed dripstone, you don't get to stay on my island. Hopefully, that'll send a message to the next Wandering Trader to let him know that if he wants to not be eliminated, he's going to need to bring me what I'm looking for. So, like I said, waited a few more hours, and we've now got ourselves yet another Wandering Trader. We're going to do our dance. We're going to go ahead here and kind of make our prayers, make our case to this guy. Please, please, please give me that pointed dripstone. And once again, no pointed dripstone. Some new flowers, some new dyes, some different things that we can buy, but not the pointed dripstone that we're looking for. So unfortunately, we once again are striking out with the Wandering Trader, and it's disappointing. Like I said, we only need one thing. There's one thing that we need to complete this challenge, and it is pointed dripstone. Without that pointed dripstone, we cannot multiply our lava. If we can't multiply our lava, we can't make enough obsidian to get ourselves to the Nether. So these guys who don't want to bring us the pointed dripstone, really, they're worthless to us. They're not giving us any value other than, like I said, some new flowers, some new dyes, which maybe would give us what we need to build something else on our island here. But anything else that we build on our island is really just me passing the time while I wait for the next Wandering Trader to arrive. And I've hit the point where I'm ready to get on to our next challenge. We have a new challenge lined up from my kids. It's called the Chest Cavity Mod Challenge. You may have seen I live streamed the very beginning of that the other day. Going to continue to work on that challenge, and honestly, it's got my attention. It's got me wanting to move on to that because it's a little more fun to play in a world where a little more traditional Minecraft action going on, not stuck on this little island in the sky with limited resources. Got all the resources of Minecraft available to me, just have the unique challenge of having to open up some mobs and take different organs and things from them in order to enhance my guy in my Minecraft world. So we're going to see what the Dadcrafter's like with a creeper appendix, for example, and I think that's going to give me some explosive capabilities. So taking our anger out on yet another wandering trader, and going to go ahead here now and just bone meal some grass to try to get some different flowers. You know, I had the idea that it would be kind of cool to make a zombie statue, but I realized that to do that, I'm going to need blue and purple, and I don't have any blue or purple. I have a little bit of magenta, but not really the purple color I'm looking for. So I'm hoping here to find a blue flower, but unfortunately, I'm striking out. I'm just getting reds and yellows. So must be something with my biome or maybe what you can get from bone mealing grass, but I don't seem to be getting the blue flower that I'm looking for. So I'm back to the drawing board trying to think of what else I can build on my island while I pass the time when, lo and behold, yet another wandering trader shows up. Now, it makes it look like these guys are coming pretty close together, but like I said before, these guys are hours apart. I'm actually passing quite a bit of time here while I wait for these guys to show up, but I'm going to do my dance, going to make it, bring on all the good luck here, going to try to bring forth the pointed dripstone that I'm looking for, manifest it into the world. But no luck. This wandering trader is going to leave me hanging just like all of the rest of them have. No pointed dripstone for me. But he does have a couple of things that I've not seen yet. That pale oak sapling as well as the kelp are things that I've not seen before. So we'll go ahead and we'll buy those. Like I've said, I got the emeralds. I may as well use them for something. So we'll buy up as many of these pale oak saplings as we can. I believe you need 4 of those to grow a pale oak tree. So we'll get all 8 of those so we can grow a couple of trees. And we'll buy the kelp that he's got here since we've never seen that before. Not really sure what I'll do with kelp, but never hurts to have things you can't otherwise acquire in Skyblock. And then we're going to look around here. Maybe we'll buy these azure bluettes. Again, we don't have those. We were having trouble finding certain color flowers, so we won't pass on any that we can get. Speaking of colors, we'll buy the brown dye. Why not get some brown dye since he's got it? I don't have any of that. There's got to be something I could do with it. And again, I'm just trying to think of ways that I can pass the time here, things I might be able to build, and trying to gather up any resources that I might need to do that. So with this wandering trader completely used up everything I need from him, he's going to receive the same treatment as every other wandering trader who doesn't bring me the pointed dripstone, and that is going to be a quick and unceremonious elimination from my island. That's right, there's no room here for a wandering trader who doesn't bring me pointed dripstone. You bring the dripstone, or you get the dripstone. Not really the catchiest of catchphrases there, but you all know what I mean. We're going to take out that llama there, and we're going to continue to pass some time here. And of course, it wouldn't be my Skyblock without a little bit of an Enderman battle. So Enderman decides to show up, so we'll go ahead. We'll battle with this Enderman for a little bit. We'll make sure that he doesn't steal any of our precious dirt. You can see I've planted some flowers there as well. My hope with those was when I researched that type of flower, beehives can spawn on trees near the flower. So I went ahead and planted those flowers there. So far, no beehives are spawning, so not really much luck with that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to grow this pale oak and see if we maybe get a creaking heart in here, but I think we have to chop it up to see if there's one in there. So we'll go ahead. We'll actually chop down this tree. Again, some new blocks for me, the pale oak logs. Maybe we can do something with those, build something a little bit different. But at the end of the day, I really don't want to build much more on this island right now. I just want to find that pointed dripstone. I just want to duplicate my lava. I just want to get to the Nether, but I've got to pass the time somehow. So if you guys can't tell here, I'm really, really not digging this Skyblock anymore. I've never done a challenge like this where passing the time was going to be such a large part of what I had to do. And the reality is it's just because the Wandering Trader only spawns when he spawns. And I'm not doing any tick rate manipulation here. I'm not willing to mess with the world. I just want to get the Wandering Traders, and I can't sit and do absolutely nothing all the time, although I do let the game just kind of run in the background as much as I can. Speaking of that, one thing I can do here is I did have some more zombie piglins show up. My pig pen still has the lightning rods in it, and because of that, we had a little bit of a thunderstorm while I was just hanging out waiting for a trader, and that meant that some zombie pigmen showed up, and this one just happened to have gotten out of the pen when I was trying to let some of the sheep that I was breeding out. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate this guy. I just get nervous with him running around the world that I might accidentally do something that ticks him off, so I'm going to probably upset these other pigmen when I do it. You can see there's a bunch of them there in my pen. So I'm a little nervous. I just want to be sure, like, I kind of hid this guy off to the side so I could take him out without ticking off the other ones. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not, but we've got this guy kind of hiding over here in a secret cubby hole. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take him out with a single arrow, and then we'll go over and we'll look and see. It doesn't look like that made the other ones upset. So we're in the clear. We didn't upset the other zombie pigmen. So I think we're good to go on that one. And we can continue on here without any fear of that guy seeking, or those guys seeking retaliation. Another few hours have passed, and the good news is we have another wandering trader. Let's go ahead and let's all hold our breath for a second here. Going to grab some emeralds. Let's prep the Dadcrafter Wandering Trader pointed dripstone dance, because maybe the dance is the key, and if we do the dance just right, maybe he will give us what we're looking for. He's hiding behind his llama. I think that's a good sign. He's hiding. He's not sure if he wants to show me what he's got, but we're going to do our dance here. Bring it on, Dadcrafter. Yep, there it is. It's the pointed dripstone dance. Let's see. Will it give us what we need? Wandering Trader, come on. Do you have the pointed dripstone? He does! He's got the pointed dripstone. We finally have a wandering trader who brought us pointed dripstone. For 1 emerald, we can get 2 pointed dripstone. We are going to buy as much of that pointed dripstone as we can possibly get. We'll buy him up out of stock. We don't need a whole bunch. We just need 1, but it never hurts to have 10, even though you only need 1. This is the moment we have been waiting for. We finally can duplicate our lava. We can finally get to the Nether. If you can't tell, I am jumping for joy. The Dadcrafter is literally jumping for joy right now because we have waited so long for this. It has been 11 episodes. We have gone through 6 attempts, or this is our 6th attempt. We have yet to see pointed dripstone from a wandering trader. We're going to go ahead and we're going to buy up everything this guy has to sell because I just want to celebrate him. I want to let him know how excited I am. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sell a whole bunch of iron to all my other villagers to get the emeralds so I can buy up everything that this guy has to sell. This wandering trader is my new best friend because he had the pointed dripstone. So now all that's left is to use that pointed dripstone to duplicate our lava. We already have our setup ready to go with our cauldron here. So we're going to put that pointed dripstone directly above the cauldron. That's going to allow the lava to drip down into the cauldron. And eventually, after a certain amount of time, it's just kind of a random tick rate thing, that cauldron will fill with lava, and then we can take it out with a bucket and we can turn it into obsidian. Although, before I do that, I want to speed things up a little bit. So I'm actually going to build a little lava multiplication station here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a bunch of cauldrons. I'm going to set up a bunch of pointed dripstone. And as I get lava, I'm going to put it above each of these pointed dripstone so that I can get more and more and more lava. And as you can see there, the cauldron has filled up. That means that I can take this lava without taking away my original. My cobblestone generator is still functional. I still have lava over on top of that. And you'll see here now this one is going to drip down and fill up that cauldron. So now I can grab lava from that cauldron, put it above another dripstone, and continue to do that until I've got a whole bunch of lava up here. And eventually I'll get all these cauldrons filled with lava, and I'll be able to turn all of that into obsidian, and I'll be able to use that obsidian to build a nether portal. Now you'll see, as lava tends to do, it's lit my tree on fire, so I'm going to go ahead here and build a little wall around my lava farm because I don't really want to burn my cool tree down. That tree is actually, one of the cooler features of my world right now, so we'll keep that safe. But over here, we're going to build our obsidian generator. This is the opposite of a cobblestone generator. Now we want the water to touch the lava, and just like that, poof, we've got obsidian, and we've got obsidian without destroying our chance at more, because that was just 1 bucket of lava, and we have many buckets of lava left at this point. So we'll go ahead, we'll mine that with our diamond pickaxe, and as you can see, ice bucket challenge achieved. We now have obsidian. So all that's left is to go ahead, keep grabbing buckets of lava, dropping them into our obsidian maker, and then mining that obsidian until we have enough to go ahead and build ourselves a nether portal. This is huge. I can't believe that we've finally gotten to this moment. It feels like it has been forever, and that's because it has. Like I was saying before, this is episode number 11. This is attempt number 6. It's taken us all this time to get to this point, but now that we're here, we can finally build our nether portal and achieve the second goal that my children gave me. I'm going to use my hostile mob spawning platform as my new nether portal platform, since I don't really need it anymore for hostile mobs. So we'll light it up so we don't get any hostile mobs spawning out here. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to build a nether portal. Now for a nether portal, you need a couple things. You first need to lay out 2 side-by-side obsidian. You need to go up 3, but you need to go up 3 on top of another brick. So we're going to use a piece of cobblestone here for the corner, and then we're going to go up 3 on top of that. So that's just a way to save on the obsidian. You could use obsidian there, but you don't need to. So to save obsidian, we'll use cobblestone so that we can go up 3 on our portal, up 3 with the obsidian, and then we'll go 1 cobblestone at the top corner, and again we'll fill it in with those 2 pieces of obsidian there at the top. We left off 1 piece of obsidian on the left side here, but boom, just like that, we now have our nether portal fully crafted. It just looks like a doorway made out of obsidian. It's kind of a 2x3 doorway. The last thing that we need to do, we need to light the portal. So in order to go through the portal into the nether, it needs to be lit. Now, normally you would use like a flint and steel to do that really easily. I don't have a flint and steel. What I do have is a flame bow. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use that bow to try to light this wood on fire. By stacking wood in front of and behind it, if we can get that wood to catch fire, the fire will then kind of spit and spark the portal, and it will light the portal. But quickly realizing here that I don't think my arrows are going to do the trick, but the other way you can do it is with lava. Lava will always catch things on fire. So we've got the wood there. We'll just dump a little lava, and we'll see if the lava will catch our wood on fire, since our arrows do not appear to be doing the trick. And if I come around the back here, we'll see our arrow is still on fire, but there we go. The wood in the back has caught fire from the lava, so we can pick up the lava, and now it's just a matter of letting that burn for a little while, and eventually you'll see a purple haze will appear, and that'll tell us, boom, just like that. There's the purple haze. That means our nether portal is ready to take us to the nether dimension, and as soon as we do that, that's the goal. The goal that we set was to get to the nether. I don't even have to make it back alive. If I go to the nether and I fall immediately in lava and die, that's okay. We've still achieved our goal. I would be incredibly disappointed, and I'm sure my children would too, and our world would come to a crashing halt, but we would technically have achieved our goal. But we're going to try not to do that. And here we go. We have officially made it to the nether. Advancement made. We need to go deeper, and this lovely world that you see, this is the nether of my world. And you'll see it's not a skyblock nether. I wasn't actually sure what to expect here. That's why I mentioned that I might just fall right in the lava, is I wasn't sure if once I walked through the portal, if I would be on a skyblock, small little section in the nether where I could just fall right through. The good news is I'm not. What I'm doing here is I'm just going to encapsulate my nether portal in cobblestone, just in case like a ghast would be to show up and shoot a flame ball at the portal. That can actually knock your portal out, and then you don't have a way back through. And since I don't have flint and steel to easily relight it, I don't want to have to worry about that. So just made a little encapsule around it with cobblestone to protect it. Going to grab some of this wood here from the nether. I want to make sure that I can make a really cool sign back in my back in my skyblock to show that I have achieved the goal of getting to the nether. Going to look around here. There's some other resources in the nether that I can't get on my skyblock, like the quartz here. So we'll go ahead and we will mine up some of this quartz so that we can use that for some redstone building. I don't really think I'll do much of that, but you never know. Maybe I'll come back to this skyblock challenge someday. Maybe my kids will throw some other things at me. So we'll collect up some quartz here because you can only get that in the nether. So fun to have some things in the nether that I couldn't get previously because I'm here. I may as well. Magma blocks, that's another thing that I couldn't get in the overworld. So we'll grab up some magma blocks. And then one thing that's really cool is I mentioned I couldn't make a flint and steel. Well, that's because I didn't have any gravel. Well, sure enough, I find some gravel here in the nether, so we'll go ahead and grab some gravel. Gravel would also be a key to making concrete. I don't have much sand, so I don't really plan on making concrete, but right there you can see a piece of flint has already appeared from this gravel. So I'm going to get my first piece of flint. So I actually do now have the ability to make flint and steel. I have the ability to make a Fletcher's table if I wanted to. So all sorts of cool stuff that I'll be able to do now because I've gone to the nether. But more importantly, and most importantly, I can officially cross going to the Nether off my list of goals, and I could even say that I made it back to my world safely. And I'm going to go ahead and craft up some warped planks to make myself a cool green sign here that I can use to announce to the world that I have achieved my goal of making it to the Nether. And I already have my sign here that I made before that says the goal of getting to the Nether. And we're going to go ahead here and we're going to cross that goal off our list because we have officially achieved the goal of going to the Nether here in our Skyblock Challenge. Episode number 11, attempt number 6, and the Dadcrafter has officially defeated this challenge. We found villagers, we bred villagers, we made it to the Nether. The things we had to do to get there, oh my gosh, we had to build a pig farm. We had to get the pigs. We had to get the pigs into a farm. We had to get lightning to strike those pigs. We had to build a mob grinder to get all sorts of different things that we needed, like potatoes and carrots and iron. We built an iron farm once we had our villagers. We had to get a witch to curse our villager with weakness so that we could feed it the golden apple that we made using the gold that we got from the pigs. There's our cow that saved us from the witch by giving us all the milk that we could drink to get rid of those curses that we got. There's the little bed that I built myself up in a tree just because I was getting sick of hanging out on the ground. There's my skeleton statue that I built when I was bored trying to wait for that wandering trader. Here's the loft of my villager trading hall. Here's all the villagers. These guys were great. They gave me full diamond armor. They gave me full diamond tools. They gave me all sorts of emeralds. And speaking of villagers, those are my original 2 villagers that I cured from zombie villagers to make them into regular villagers. Thanks once again to Grace6604 for making me this awesome Dadcrafter skin. There was the sign that I made for her. Here is my iron farm, the iron golem there burning up in perpetuity. Of course, that awesome skeleton statue right there hovering over my world, showing off all the bone meal that I collected throughout this journey. Of course, my mob grinder. Couldn't have done this without the mob grinder and all of the awesome loot that it provided. You know, looking up here once again, we've got the mobs who made it all possible. And as we take a big zoom out on this world, I can say that from a tiny little island in the sky, we ultimately built all of this. We made it to the Nether. We bred villagers. We got all sorts of different trees. We even got that vine hanging down off my one tree, way down into the void below the world. And you know what? There just might be more to come in this series. But for now, I think we're going to focus on our chest cavity mod challenge. So we can go ahead and say goodbye to the Skyblock challenge, at least for now. I am the Dadcrafter. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying with me through this challenge. If you liked it, go ahead, give it a like, subscribe to the Dadcrafter channel. I have so much more coming at you. Can't wait to bring it to you next time.